Well, the First Lady of British music, Petula Clark, is back for another tour of Australia. The legendary film and theatre music star and two-time Grammy Award winner will present all of her favourite hits, Downtown, I Know a Place, Colour My World, A Sign of the Times, Don't Sleep in the Subway, and many, many more. Having sold nearly 70 million records throughout her career, spanning over 67 years, Petula Clark continues to reach for even more impressive levels of perfection. I'm thrilled to have her on the line from Geneva now. Thank you so much for your time and lovely to meet you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. My goodness, quite impressive.
You are really quite impressive. I can't believe in researching you. You're 83 years old and you're still performing regularly.
I am performing regularly, yes. Yes, I did a UK tour recently. I'm really looking forward to being in Australia again very soon. And then I do a US tour later in the year. And the Canadian tour early next year. That's after I've made the record. I've got to make a French-Canadian record before, so I don't quite know when I'm going to fit that in, but I have to.
It's incredible. Where do you take the energy from?
I enjoy what I'm doing. I mean, let's face it, how many people can say that they really enjoy what they're doing? You know, I mean, I've been doing this all my life. It doesn't feel like work to me. And the energy, I suppose it does take a lot of energy. Of course it does. But I think it comes through just doing it, you know, and the audience gives me energy.
So as you've grown older, do you have to compensate in different ways than when you were young in order to keep that energy high?
Well, you know what? I don't think so. I mean, I you know, honestly, I don't feel any different now to when, let's say, you know, when Downtown came out, I guess I was 30-something or other. I feel about the same. In some ways, I think, I sort of enjoy it more now because I appreciate it more. And, yeah, I think that's what it must be. I feel privileged to still be doing it.
Well, you've recorded well in excess of 1,000 songs with a lot of the focus on older material all these decades later. Have you noticed things about those songs that you might have missed at the time of their creation and recording?
I tell you what, I enjoy singing the new songs as much as the old ones. You know, I don't go on stage and do a kind of those were the days type show. You know? I mean, they were great days, but I'm enjoying my life just as much now. And I'm enjoying the new songs just as much.
Well, I've had a listen to From Now On, and it's an awesome song. How did that come about?
Well, like most of the songs that we wrote, you know, because I co-wrote that song, and we were recording in a studio. I'll tell you, it's actually like a little hut at the bottom of the producer's garden. That's what it looks like from the outside. It looks like a little kind of shed. And you go in, and it's the perfect recording studio inside. And it's got an amazing vibe, you know, and it was done in a very intimate kind of way. And that's how we wrote the songs. There were about 3 of us in there, the producer, the engineer, and myself, and we wrote these songs together. And it's all very organic. That's the way it works.
It's fabulous, and your voice is still every bit as strong today as it was when you first started.
Well, that's very nice of you to say so. I think it has changed a bit. I think my voice is a bit lower now, but not much. You know, a lot of the old songs like Downtown and Don't Sleep in the Subway and all those, you know, Colour My World, I sing them in the same key as when I recorded them all those years ago. So I guess my voice hasn't changed that much.
Petula, how does 2017 compare with 1957 or 1967 for you?
I don't think you can compare any of that. You know, the world has changed. Let's face it, our world, you know, the way we live, the way we communicate, everything has changed. So why shouldn't music change, you know? So show business has changed. Personally, the way I handle it is I stay pretty well true to myself. You know, I respond to the world around me, of course, and it's not always that great, let's face it. I think in my heart and my soul, I'm still the same person as I was way back.
Have lyrics or arrangements changed or evolved over the years?
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, the record that I'm talking about, my new record, we recorded, as I say, in a tiny studio, and we only ever used about 3 live musicians. Everything else is done electronically. Whereas when I was recording back in the 60s, we would record in a huge studio with about 40 musicians, and it was great too. Let's face it, there's nothing quite as exciting as having a really great orchestra backing you up, but you don't need that anymore. You really don't need it, because 5 musicians, I'll be using 5 musicians when I'm in Australia on tour, when they're very good, and the Australian musicians are very good, they make a fantastic sound. You don't need a huge orchestra anymore.
Yeah, it certainly has changed over the years in so many ways like that, hasn't it? Petula, if you had to pick one particular highlight in your life, and I know that's really difficult to do, what do you think that might be?
Well, it sounds a bit corny, but the birth of my first child, Barra, was absolutely incredible. Even though it wasn't an easy birth, but I mean, just holding her, for the first time was an amazing feeling. Those sort of things, those sort of personal things, family things. There are a lot of those great things, and there are a lot of great professional moments. I've worked with some of the most brilliant people in this business, and the first time I sang with Quincy Jones was great. Working with Dean Martin and all those great people. It was a very exciting time. But I tell you what, these exciting, brilliant moments can happen just when you don't expect them. That's the great thing about life, the surprises, those moments when you just don't expect them to be that great, and suddenly they are, What
the song and the title of the album is called From Now On. What is From Now On for you?
Oh, that's a bit sneaky. I'm looking forward to these next few weeks when I'm going to be in your glorious country, and I adore Australia. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. From now on, I hope I will be able to continue doing what I do and hopefully get better at it because I'm still learning. And then I'm going to see my children very soon. I'm going to see my son who's in California, and I miss him so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'll be seeing my daughter in New York and my 2 gorgeous grandchildren.
Are your kids in the business too?
No, none of them are in show business. No way. I think, over the years they've seen how tough it can be, and they decided it wasn't for them.
Despite how obviously tough it is, though, you've somehow managed to, or it appears that you've somehow managed to remain really grounded through all the highs and lows, through working with some of those super big names through musical history. Is there a clue for younger artists of how you've managed to get through so well?
Well, I started very young, and I was a working child actually in show business and all through my adolescence, and I was never spoiled. I think it must be very difficult, when you see these programs, like The Voice and The X Factor. I guess you have all those in Australia, I'm sure.
Of course, yes.
And the expectations from that are huge, and of course in a huge television show like that, whether you win or not, you're being seen by millions of people, and I'm sure the expectations are, I'm suddenly a star. Well, it doesn't quite work like that, and sometimes I will watch these programs and I think, oh my God, I hope they realize what they're getting into, because even when you become a star, if you want to stay a star, I've always described it as like trying to go up a down escalator. To stay in one place, you have to keep walking. and it's not easy to stay grounded and to keep up your courage. You need quite a lot of courage, actually.
So what advice would you have for new artists today?
That's a difficult one, because I haven't quite been through that experience. I was not catapulted into stardom. It happened very slowly, and I worked very hard all the way through. So I wouldn't really know how to advise somebody who hits it suddenly like that. But okay, if you want to do it, if you really want to do it, then be prepared for it not being all that great all the time. You have to be prepared for rejection too. That's not nice, but it happens. So don't expect it to be glorious all the way through.
Well,
I'm sorry, that's the truth.
That's very sound advice indeed. Petula Clark, thank you so very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and we look forward to seeing you all over Australia in concert here again. You're quite an amazing person, and I'm very honoured to have had the opportunity to chat to you today.
Yeah, that's so nice of you. I can't wait to get to Australia.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.